Oh, speaking of that, before we get into our stuff, I was treated to this,
Oh my!
an A5.
Where did
We got this at Pasquier the on the South Shore. Probably the best price for beef I've seen in the region. Period. And I think his tactic is he doesn't really make much of a profit off his sale of protein, but he makes profit off everything else. So gets people in with really good priced beef. But I
milk
mean,
is $32?
no, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. Here, look at this. Look at the crust. The crust is spectacular. Slide off. It's really amazing. Towards us. Oh, it was absolutely delicious.
So it was a dry, flat, right? Nothing.
And honestly, we had pieces where we tested this without any salt, and the fat is so tasty, and the crust it makes. It can be argued that an A5 from Japan doesn't even need salt. That's how freaking delicious it was. Don't get me wrong, we loved it with the salt even more, but I gotta say, this was it. It's something else. It's a very different experience than eating a steak.
Just imagine how good it would be with sumac salt.
Or actually, and you would the wine I used. I bought a Syrah type wine, but I went with like a Cornas. So yeah, it was a little bit more expensive than usual. Holy crap! It was one of those. It was like having both the Languedoc and the Erasmus that we had with that dry rim. It had both. It was synergy, and it had all the geeky complexities and layers. But not a $20 bottle. Anyway, I'll reward this one. Oh yeah, and I was just transferring yours. So yeah, so I couldn't find the thick one, so I just got a like a pork roast, a bone-in pork roast, and I cut chops out of it, and I was just finishing transferring the videos you sent me. For some reason, they're not showing up in my saves. Why is that? Come on now.
You double bombed those ones, or?
I did not all of them. Not all of them. I'm doing a test with one really thick one and one normal, and I had two. Like you'll see, I have like 4 different thicknesses because I wanted to see the differences in flavor after dry brining overnight. Oh, it says I had.
Yeah, I might try my experiments with the Gaspar ones.
Yeah.
So yellow and black. I think that's what it is. The yellow and black packaging.
Yep.
Yeah, I might try that. Okay, so let's talk first.
Okay, I got your videos here. Just moving your videos into the studio.
Or should I wait for that to pop up then? Or I said you 3. I had cooking,
yeah.
But I don't think.
Yeah, I think I got 3. I got 3 transferring in right now. So let's. The fun part of making a recipe with pork chops is not every attempt costs $50.
No, I had my 3 chops. I think cost me like $10.
Yeah, exactly. It's compared to doing stuff with beef these days. Beef is becoming quite ridiculous.
Yeah, so we'll stick with things we know. But yeah, so what we had talked about was making 3 different types of dry rub. Initially, salt, pepper, sumac, and then salt, pepper, sumac, and I think I added garlic powder. And then the third batch was added cumin. That's it, powdered cumin.
Yes.
Let's just go over quickly. Oh, there we go. There's my sea salt, pepper.
Yeah.
New bottle of sumac.
Yeah.
And then there's my garlic powder, and there should be the cumin because I didn't use anything else. And
Perfect.
so we made those three batches of powder. I didn't do a dry rub. I dry rubbed them for about 2 hours, maybe 3. That's the time I had to do it. So I like to dry brine for about an hour minimum, but preferably if I'm cooking tonight, say I'd go and do it now, like around 9 o'clock in the morning. So give myself a good 8-9 hours of dry brining. Anyhow, let's just jump to the chase. And then when I did a bit more research after the fact, Sumac does not like heat.
I got the same test. Yeah.
Yeah. So we put those in the cold pan, turned on the heat there. I did it outside on the barbecue in a cast iron pan. The pork came out okay. I think my backyard burner is a bit too hot. So the cast iron pan, I couldn't get, you want a nice cold and slow heat.
Yeah.
I think my heat came a bit too fast. So it started to burn before it was actually cooked.
Okay.
But all that said, an overcooked pork chop with a nice crust on it is never a bad thing. Couldn't taste the stew back. Who's this Sean guy that you're spelling S-E-A-N at the bottom?
I was just to get your attention. I wasn't sure if you spelled it S-H-S-H or S-E-A-N.
S-H-A, like on the screen. Anyway, yeah, so none of them were, like the sumac flavor did not come through. The pork and the salt and the pepper and the garlic came through, and they were very good, as all pork chops are if you treat them nicely. Yeah, so the sumac, forget about it as a dry rub at the beginning. You're wasting your sumac. I did test a bit with like sprinkling a bit of sumac on cut up pieces that the juices were flowing, and that had promise. So I think I shared that with you, and then you did some experimenting with later stage sumac. So I guess over to you.
You completely got me thinking when you said that it didn't like the sumac and the heat was not a good thing. So let's see. So what I did was I just cut up. Let me just fast forward through this so we see the pieces. Yeah, so essentially that's about the size, the regular sizes that I was aiming for. I want a little over an inch thick. Keep them juicy. So what I have, you don't see these, but so these guys, I have one big one and one normal size one that are dry brining with a mix of sumac, powdered garlic, and salt. So they've been in the fridge now overnight, which I think I have a video of them in the fridge. Do I? This one? Yeah, there you go. So that's them this morning. We're going to try that. I'm going to try that today now that they've been sitting with the sumac overnight. But I am aware, even though I put the sumac on there, I know that it's not going to make for a great sumac flavor what's on top because it doesn't like the heat. So like you said.
Or any component. I'll get nerdy and biologic here, or biochemistry on you here. Anything you put on as a dry brine, apart from the salt, and maybe if you put some sugar, doesn't penetrate. It needs to dissolve in the actual natural juices of the meat. Like the moisture comes out, it dissolves the salt, and then it sort of seeps back in. So you have to have it broken down in a molecular level, like down to the subatomic, but atomic part. The sumac and the cumin, and they don't dissolve in water.
Although, one thing I didn't mention, which might have an impact, is I completely covered both of these pork chops with lime juice first.
Yeah, I don't know I don't know if the lime juice will seep in, but a lot of people are claiming that the lime juice on pork has a surprising amount of tenderizing effect. So it's the acid. It's the acid. It breaks down the protein, but does it also? We'd have to do experiments. Does sumac dissolve in an acidic environment? And if it does, then then I would draw in the sumac flavor.
Yeah.
Another thing you could do is, start getting like all Southern barbecue-ish and inject the meat with the sumac mixture.
That could be interesting. And I mean, it could just be like a sort of like a salt water and sumac type of thing, or I don't know. So these I haven't tested yet, and how I'm going to cook them is not. I'm not just going to cook these as is. One of them, I'm going to come to the other ones that I ended up cooking, which are here. So these, what I did is I just put them on, I guess low heat on the plancha, and I just let them go until the internal temps reach about 100 Fahrenheit. And once they hit 100 Fahrenheit on internal temp, every flip I did, one of these I was adding just a dry sumac spice on top at the end. So even though the sumac was still getting like exposed to the heat, with every flip and I was adding, it was kind of like compounding that crust. So I did that with one of them. The other one, which is the one you see here, this one was I made a sumac butter. So a little bit of garlic powder, sumac, added to garlic butter, and added on top of this. Now, both actually tasted pretty good. There was something missing though, flavor-wise, like they're in the depth, the layers of flavors to kind of help the sumac. But it was good though. There was something I specifically enjoyed, those little corner bites of fat and sumac. I thought that was excellent. But there's something missing. So in the plate, I was also experimenting with, I found that fresh rosemary and sumac is an interesting flavor. But I need I need another opinion, like just to make sure that I'm not, sometimes you kind of get into, you're just trying so many, so many things that at one point you try so many things that don't work. And then the first thing that works better than the last four, you think, oh, this is great. No, it's not great. It's just better than the other ones you were trying.
That's right. Yeah. I've got a love-hate with rosemary.
Same.
It can be great, but it can also be terrible.
Too much. Yeah, I completely agree. It's one of those potent things that you can overuse it. Like it's like a cloves.
Like I like don't get me started on cloves. My love-hate is I like the flavor, but if you chop it up too fine, I find it gets like an unpleasant bitterness to the food. But if you leave it whole, then you get these big chunks of rosemary.
Yeah.
So it's almost. I like doing it probably, let's say, in something on an oil base, like an olive oil base, where I put big chunks of rosemary in it. It seems to draw it. I guess the flavor components are fat soluble. Maybe the same thing with the sumac. Maybe it's fat soluble also. Some of the flavor components. That's why it's so good on the fat edges. Because it might dissolve into the fat. Again, we're speculating here, not being a chemist. So, but that's a possibility. But which got me thinking though, the heat. What about a sous vide pork chop with the sumac? We could get the heat, we'd have to experiment to see at what point do you denature the flavor of the sumac. Yeah. Like if it's at 100 and, if it's over 200 degrees, then on the sous vide or golden, we can, put it like 150, cook the pork perfectly on the inside, and then just do a quick sear on the outside, and hopefully by then the flavor will have infused.
Yeah. But it's not. But hold on, it's not like your idea. The dry brining is not completely dead. So hold on. So out of the two chops that I had on the plate, one was with the sumac butter, and the other one was the dry sumac that I was only adding at the very last 30% of the cook every flip. I preferred the pork chop with the dry sumac, and it was just salt and dry sumac at the end. That to me had far more potential than the butter one. The butter also had the granulated garlic. Now another thing I realized is I didn't put pepper at first on either one of these, so I just added a crack of black pepper on both of these to try a few bites, not on the whole thing, just on a few bites. I found that the black pepper with the sumac, the black pepper was killing a lot of the edge of the sumac. It was overpowering it. And I'm suspecting also that the butter is doing the same thing, because the sumac has a very like a sharp tanginess. That sharp tanginess with butter, the butter killed it completely. You still had a little bit of the flavor in the back, but you lost that sharpness. And I thought for me that didn't work. I want that sharp tanginess, because that's what I enjoy out of the sumac. If I'm going to remove that, why am I using sumac?
Yeah, so because that's the beauty. I mean, sumac is such an unusual taste. People say, well, it's got a bit of a citrusy tang and this and that, but the only way I can describe the flavor is that it tastes like sumac. You know, it's such it's similar to other stuff, but it's not. It's like saying garlic powder tastes the same as fresh garlic. Doesn't really. It's a nice flavor, but it's not. You would never mistake. You know, if I gave you something made with garlic powder versus something made with fresh garlic, you can tell right away.
Yeah.
Another thing, while I was looking around trying to find out what to try, something that popped up is like cinnamon. Cinnamon apparently goes really well and complements sumac. Now, everyone thinks of cinnamon going into sweet.
But
apple pie, and it's not. But cinnamon in small quantities, like some of the best barbecue sauces I've ever made, I put cinnamon in. Now, again, it's a bit sweet, but it goes onto a pork, and then it cooks out, and then you're not left with. I don't make super sweet barbecue sauce, so it adds like a little tang. Or I've even seen some tomato sauces where they add a tiny bit of cinnamon to it. It just adds a little something.
Yeah.
So I'm willing to. I might not go whole hog with cinnamon, but I might try a little. Use it as a condiment to see.
Yeah.
But so what? What are you thinking of trying next?
Well,
I'm going to try something.
So today I'm going to try the ones that have been dry brining overnight. So at bare minimum, the salt that's on there, at least that is going to have an impact. And I'm going to have one pork chop where I'm going to do the dry sumac on top. But I'm wondering, like, how did it work with what was did the cumin bring anything with the sumac? Like, if you mix the ground cumin with ground sumac and you taste it just like that, does that like create depth, or do they just fight each other?
No, it added an extra little layer. I wouldn't say it was earth shattering by any means. Like when you're tasting them, it's almost if you add the cumin, and even when you add the garlic powder, it's almost like you got to increase the amount of sumac.
Okay.
If you want the sumac to really shine. Yeah. They weren't bad. They created a different sort of, so let's say, fuller flavor, but you missed the unique kind of tanginess of the sumac, which is, I think, what we're trying to get here. But I'm interested in how the lime juice and the sumac would interact.
So I think today my test today with both chops that have been dry brining overnight, one's going to just be by adding the dry sumac to see how that lime juice and the dry brining affected with just the dry sumac. And the second one, I'm going to do also dry sumac, but I'm going to mix it maybe a little bit of cumin, and it needs a fresh herb. It needs one. I'm not sure which one yet. Like I said, the rosemary kind of had a little bit of working, but you can't put too much. But I'm like, would oregano work good? Thyme, or a mix of oregano and thyme? Sage? I don't know.
Yeah, my Google searches had just about everything showed up saying, "Oh, try this." Oregano came in. Again, the problem with fresh oregano is that it tastes like bad lettuce. It needs. Do you have dried stuff? Because dried oregano has a much better flavor.
I do have the dry stuff. I could try that.
But what? Don't ignore parsley.
You're right. Absolutely, parsley nice, too.
Parsley, especially if you're adding a bit of garlic, it's quite magical. If you want to say, if you got the lime juice in there, or want to add some coriander leaves,
Could do that. Could do that.
Then you're going a little bit towards the Mexican side.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to be. Like coriander is the most popular, I think, herb in the world. So it's used in every cuisine you can think of. So
and yet, 1 out of 3 people you meet can't stand their stomach in. You cannot convince them to eat coriander. Isn't it weird? It's ultra popular, but I know so many people that's like they can't even go near it.
It's the leaves or the seed. I find the seed.
The leaves most. Sorry, you're saying coriander. So you're talking about the seeds. You're not talking about.
No, I'm not. I'm saying add the leaves.
Yeah, well, I'm talking the leaves. The leaves is what people are most sensitive to.
Really?
The seeds. I think most people don't even, unless you're a really good cook or a chef. Most people have not taken just seeds and bit into the seeds to know what the seeds bring in terms of spices in the mix.
Or a Belgian brewer. Have you ever tried some of these Blanche de Bruges?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. The interesting flavor you get.
Yeah.
That's a coriander seed and dried orange peel is added in the fermentation process.
I didn't know that. That's interesting.
There you go. Not even 9 o'clock in the morning, and I've educated you.
That's perfect. That's perfect. That's why your long life experience comes in and hands you.
Thanks. That's why I'm here. What I'm thinking of doing is I want to try sort of like a vinaigrette. Basically, I do a little bit of mustard, olive oil, some sort of lemon juice or something, and I'm gonna load it up with sumac. It's almost good. I'm going to exclude, let's say, the sugar, but it's going to be very similar to the dressing you put on a fettuccine salad.
Okay. Yeah, that could be good.
Yeah, and those usually have some kind of molasses or something in it, like a pomegranate molasses or to sweeten it up. I don't want the sweetness. Although, you know what? That little touch of sweetness probably wouldn't be an issue.
Sweetness and, I don't know, man, sweetness and pork fat taste delicious. So it might be interesting.
We can't ignore our wine component.
For sure. But you don't want to go too high. But I'm even though as long as it's a subtle sweetness, not a dominant sweetness. If it's a dominant sweetness, it's gonna mess up the wine.
You know what I might do? I don't want to go out and look for pomegranate molasses. I don't want to go to Adonis and fight the crowds. And I thought maybe I'll add like a little dash of maple syrup. The smokiness of it. Maple syrup can work. A little smokiness will probably marry with the sumac, add a little layer of complexity that I'm going to get not from just straight sugar.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll try that. Whatever. We'll see. I'll make the vinaigrette. I'll taste test and whatnot. And then I've also made last night or yesterday afternoon, I took some the Malden sea salt.
Okay.
A couple teaspoons, and I put the same amount of sumac in it. I'm shaking it around. I'm letting it sit together. I don't know if the salt's going to infuse with the sumac flavor. Probably doesn't even really matter. But I'm going to use that as a finishing dusting on the pork chop. So I'm going to do one with a vinaigrette, probably one with just the, finishing salt. Now my thing is, do I do a very gentle dry brine, or do I just, or do I just see, experiment with the finishing salt? I'm thinking going just with the finishing salt. Because let's face it, a lot of people that are going to try the recipes, as soon as they say, okay, 24 hours earlier, dry brine your pork, put it in the fridge uncovered, and they'll say, okay, next recipe.
Yeah.
And not everyone has room in their fridge to put a big platter of pork chops. And if you're like me and you happen to open your fridge for 3 seconds, the dog might eat it. So unless you don't like sumac, in which case we're safe. But I might try just to see what the difference between the vinaigrette and the finishing salt does to the pork chop. I think that'll be a better indicator of which one of the finishings is better. Because if you do the dry brine and it's a delicious pork chop, no matter what, it's harder to evaluate what the finishing does. So I think I'm going to try that. I probably. I might try that the Gaspar pork. I don't think I'll get big giant chops, but they're delicious as is. They're very nice.
Yeah, they don't. I think size is secondary for me. It's just as long as there's a minimum thickness, like the ones that are paper like a.
And they're equal.
Anything,
those are individually cut, and they've got the weights on them, so I'll be able to pick out two that, same diameter, same weight. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to have the equal pork chops and cooking the same amount, and it's just going to be the finishing. And I'll probably do like what you did, like, put a bit on, flip it, put a bit on, and then actually put a little bit more at the end. That's what I do with the vinaigrette too. Like when it's just about close to being cooked, I'll put a little bit of the vinaigrette on one side, flip it over, a bit more on the other side, and then when you take it and plate it, you actually finish it with a drizzle. So even if we denature the flavor of the sumac, when I add the uncooked part, it'll just be heated up a bit by the temperature of the meat. So we'll get a good idea there.
There was one thing also, I want to see if I can find a quick visual for people to get an idea of what I'm referring to, but I'm going to take the super thick pork chop today. I'm going to lightly score it on both sides. Like shallow score, like
the crosshatch?
Crosshatch on both sides, so that as it cooks, it's going to contribute to making more of a crispy crust. And as I'm sprinkling the sumac at the end on top of it, the sumac has a place to kind of sit in the grooves to intensify the sumac flavor. That I'm going to try. I'm going to try that today with the two that have been dry brining, seeing that works. And I have to say, surprise, surprise, labneh and sumac flavor, phenomenal. Like, I had a little bit of labneh where I would just kind of like dip the pork chop, the dry brine pork chop in the labneh. Holy crap, that was really good, really good.
Well, now you've brought up a whole other idea. You could take the labneh or labneh, however it's pronounced.
Labneh.
So for those who don't know, it's a very, very thick yogurt. Yeah, you can make a snowball out of the stuff.
They even it's so thick they consider it more cheese than yogurt. So, but really, it's not that. It's not drastically different than some Greek yogurts out there. The texture is a little bit thicker though. There's less moisture in it. Yeah,
like if you're making a really good thick tzatziki, usually you take the Greek yogurt and you actually hang it in cheesecloths like for overnight or hours so that it becomes really thick. Well, the labneh has already had that done to it.
Yeah,
so it's really thick. So you can take labneh straight, and you don't have to, and you can add your lemon juice and other, cucumber and whatnot, and you don't get a runny tzatziki. But so what I'm thinking, all those things we're talking about, the herbs, the spices, the garlic, add those to the labneh and have it as a sauce just to put on the pork.
I think that might be amazing.
Just one pork chop. I'm sorry. And then the other thing is, when you see those like, cote de boeufs being cooked in the French restaurant, they pull it off and then they cut around the bone and then they slice the meat into little sort of 1/4 inch slices. They fan it out and then they drizzle the pan juices on top. Do that with your pork chop and then put the finishing or the dressing, and that's going to penetrate. You don't have to do the dry brine if you're doing it that way because you're exposing it all to the finishing.
Man, I think that's actually, if I had to put a bet on the best outcome of everything we discussed, I think what you just discussed is probably going to be the best.
The go geeky and they cut it up?
Especially if you're using a thick chop, like one of the ones I have.
Yeah, because a big chop like that, I mean, you and I can polish one of those off, but I think I served that to my wife and she's good for 2 or 3 days.
Yeah, but when you're dealing with sliced presentation,
yes, you put it out.
It's like saying, oh, nobody's going to eat a tomahawk on their own. Yeah, but that's the point of a tomahawk is you just slice it, and you all share the pieces. That to me, that I'm not worried about that because I mean, you and your wife could have a pork chop that you split, two of you.
That's exactly the point I was making. You can take, let's say there's 3 people at supper, you could take 2 or 3 giant chops, slice them all up, put it out on the platter, and then you can have that salt out. You can have like that labneh vinaigrette out, and people can dress it how they like.
Easier, and that's even if you're entertaining. Me personally now, like I'll make a parallel with if I'm cooking steak for 5 people or 6 people, these days I opt for 2 big tomahawks instead of 5-6 steaks, because I get 2 massive pieces where I'll I'll check to see to make sure if, like, what everyone likes in terms of their doneness. And pork, it's not that much of a deal, but I end up with having 1 tomahawk that I'll cook between medium rare and medium, and the other one will be medium rare, but they're all sliced up. It's way easier to manage just 2 pieces of meat than you having to cook everyone's individual 5-6. Same thing with pork chops. If you're cooking 5-6 pork chops, odds are you're checking all these. 1 or 2 of these pork chops are not going to be as perfect as the other ones, because the heat distribution is not the same. It's not even. There's always going to be one. You don't have a thermometer in each and every one of them. But if you're just doing 1 or 2 big ones, all your focus is on those pieces, and those pieces end up being perfect.
Yeah, and people won't take the nice pink pieces because they're still afraid of raw pork, and you get to have it.
Personally, I love pork that's pink. It's phenomenal.
A little bit pink, not rare like
no, not rare like a steak, but like that little bit of pinkness.
A little bit of pink is
delicious. Like when I hear people say, oh, they take their pork chops off the heat at 155, 160 Fahrenheit, they reach 165. I'm like, no, not me. I take it off at 140, 142, and it'll go all the way into the low 150s on its own. And it's gorgeous. I love it.
But back to your tomahawk thing, the other beauty there in a dinner setting is that you're going to carve it off the bone. You'll probably have the bone there for display, but no one's going to take the bone because no one wants to sit there like Fred Flintstone chewing on a big thing. And that's the best part. You get to have that afterwards. It's all the fat, and it tends to be where some of the meat is the rarest.
So. And by the way, same thing with the big pork chops. My favorite part of both the pork chops I tested yesterday was the pieces of the bone around the bone, and that's like, give me that.
It's like a nice, tasty, savory rib.
Yeah, absolutely. It's fantastic.
Delicious. Okay,
so I like that tactic. I might actually. I'm actually gonna test one of the pork chops that way today. I'm gonna experiment with mixing herbs in a labneh to get a nice mix. I might even call a few Lebanese buddies of mine and ask them for their opinion as far as like flavoring labneh, just to see if there's an obvious thing I'm missing. Sometimes they'll be like, oh, add this ingredient, add that. It's like, wait till you try it. It's amazing.
Lemon juice.
Yeah, I mean,
lemon juice, garlic, and if you put in the sumac there, that might even be enough.
Don't put the pepper. I don't know if you ever tried mixing za'atar spices in labneh. That makes a hell of a good labneh also.
I think you got the sesame seeds, I think it's thyme. Sesame seeds, thyme, and you think it's sumac? I don't know. Yeah. There's something almost like burnt in there. Not burnt, but there's like maybe, there's different. If it's a house blend versus one you got in a package that's been there for 2 years. But I've had some that was like, not great. But it does have that zingy sumac flavor, so there's definitely sumac in it. Yeah,
it does. But like you said, there's something else. But the labneh dulls a lot of that because it's so thick. It's everything's just soft,
thick, and it's also got a tanginess on its own that would probably accentuate the sumac flavor. Yeah, that's great. I'm going to stick with my sumac pepper. Sumac salt, infused salt, and I'm going to try and make the vinaigrette, but I'll see what I can find at the grocery store as far as chops, and if there's nothing good, if I can't find a nice big piece like you had to cut out some big ones, I might just go with straight chops, like the gas bar, and finish them with those 2 different sauces. But if I find the big guys, I might do exactly what we said. Don't just cook the pork, slice it up, put out the dressings to be able to try it that way.
Yeah,
which makes it that makes it really simple.
No, it does.
And if the people are looking to cook this, you make up your sauce, especially the yogurt one. You make that up. You don't even have to worry about shaking it up, so everything's distributed. It's going to be, you stir it once and it's ready to go. And if you use it the weekend after, it's still going to be okay to go.
It's true.
It's probably going to even be better.
It'll be better. Yeah, the flavor will just infuse. It'll be way better after a week.
And do you have any at home, or you said you bought some? Do you have any left?
Oh yeah. No, as I was picking up Sumac, I was like, okay, no, I need a big jar of this.
I think that could be the winner. Without
I didn't mention it, but I was even going to try hummus, but then I was like, you know what? I was like, no, now I think that's going a bit too much, and
probably not. I wouldn't put it on the pork.
No, me neither. I didn't. I ended up not doing that. I had it. I bought it. I said, maybe, and then when I got home, I opened it, and I was like, no, just with the smell, I was like, nope, that's not what I want.
What would be good though? Like I think you mentioned leftovers again.
Yes.
Like if you do a wrap, put those pieces of pork that are already cut.
Yeah.
Lebna, and then if you have a bit of hummus.
And I was in a wrap, I was even looking at how to make Turkish flatbread. Not hard to do. So imagine you make a fresh Turkish flatbread that you can cook right on top of the charcoal, or on the plancha.
On the plancha, it would go really well too.
Oh man, like I'm more excited with the idea of the leftovers than just the chop on its own, because if that chop comes out just like good enough, now when you chop that up with like add some fatouche even in it, labneh, the herbs, drizzle of olive oil on top, in a fresh Turkish bread. Oh my goodness!
No, I almost see that. Not if you're going to the trouble of making the bread, I almost see it becoming. No,
that's the recipe, not the leftover.
It's exactly it's the meal. You put out your platter of your cut up meat with whatever fresh vegetables, your lebna mix, and
you just.
Bazinga.
That's what we're okay. That's what we're gonna do. The hell with trying to make the perfect pork chop. That's what we're gonna do. We're doing the pork chop. Sure, we'll cook it, but the meal is that display. We have the pork chop sliced up on this like big cutting board, the fresh bread in there, the vegetables, all this stuff, and then we're just using what a heck of a spread.
Cucumbers, tomato slices.
Yeah.
You're gonna make
essentially like it could even be like a decomposed fatouche, right? That you have on there, and you have your vinaigrette. You have your vinaigrette on the side.
No, deconstructed. Decomposed would mean it's rotting.
Did I say decomposed or deconstructed? I meant deconstructed.
Decomposed.
Oops. No. Yeah. Yeah. With the maggots and everything.
Yeah, great.
Yeah. Good protein. I meant deconstructed.
Yeah. I know what you meant, but I mean it's early.
Yeah, it is early,
but it's still funny. It's almost like, hey, who doesn't love a great pork chop? But it's not necessarily that fancy thing to serve. One of the easy ways to guss it up. What
you just mentioned is like make a big Mediterranean spread in your home backyard. Like it's a great summer barbecue alternative. And Turkish bread ain't hard to make. You just make the dough, flag it out, make it the size you want, flag it out. Splatter it on
it's virtually the same recipe as making pizza, right?
Yeah.
Actually, so I would surmise make it like at least 24 hours, if not more, ahead of time. It'll taste even better. The bread, the bread when you put it in the fridge, when you let it proof for a long time, the flavors develop in the dough much more. So I'm sure you've had you're like El Cheapo pizza by the slice. And the dough is just bland. Whereas you go to these fancier Italian places that the dough's been rising for 72 hours, like that bread you buy there at the frozen stuff. Yeah, like the bread itself is just so unbelievably good.
Yeah,
that's the flavors that develop during the slow fermentation in the fridge. It's like hey, we're the wine guys, so why not have stuff that ferments? But anyway, But the Turkish bread, the thing is, you make these nice fresh breads. You cook them, unless you put them in the fridge and wrap them up tight, like they're not going to be as good the next day. Right?
Yeah.
Whereas the store-bought ones, I assume they might put something in there to try and preserve them a bit. Maybe not. A lot of the pita breads you buy are pretty dead the next day, unless you freeze them.
Yeah. I mean, you can kind of bring them back a little bit. Like there's a few tactics to bring them back, but they're short-lived tactics. Like you you can wet them and then put them on the charcoal or on the, it'll moisten them back up, but they'll moisten back up, but you got literally 5 minutes after that.
Yeah,
It's instant
wow.
eat now, because then after that it's over.
It's almost take it out of the pan and make yours and eat it. Whereas it's fresh, yeah, that's what my one of my Greek friends from Crete always does. He doesn't take the little skinny Lebanese pitas we usually buy like 6 in a little bag. He gets the big thick Greek pitas, so they're almost like they're in between a naan and a pita bread. And he does a mixture of olive oil and water, brushes it, puts it in like your plancha or in a cast iron pan, and just sears it quickly, and it just makes it so soft and delicious, and the oil seeps in, and there you have a bit more than 5 minutes because you've got the oil there. Like the water steams it to get it puffy, but then the oil tends to keep it nice and soft.
Okay, so here, while we're on this,
and he just does one side. He does the one side, puts it down. Look at that. Wow, you mixed the dough while we were just sitting here waiting. That's those are pretty thick.
They are, but they're fluffy.
You just need one of those.
Yeah. Like that's kind of what I had in mind. And see, like they look like she brushed it with a little bit of, I don't know if that's oil or melted butter or.
Yeah, it could be. It looks oily.
Yeah.
Maybe it's like a garlic butter provencale sort of thing. Parsley, garlic, butter, and then they just brush it at the end.
Oh, that'd be amazing. So you're talking. So I mean, this is simple. Dry yeast, easy. Sure. Activate the yeast.
Yeah.
What? Really? I'm gonna use my account, my premium account, so that these commercials don't come up. Oh, come on. Okay, that's okay. Hold on. No.
You can't skip the commercials.
Can I do this simply?
Like not in the middle of the ingredients too. No, I think that was it though.
Yeah, was it? Yeah. Anyways, okay. So I don't like. We don't need to. What
was there any salt added to it?
That's the idea. Yeah, there was salt.
There was salt. Okay. Yeah. It's basically the same recipe I do for pizza dough. I mean, I don't know the proportions of the water, but I don't put sugar. You don't need sugar. The yeast can break down.
Yes,
the starches in the flour. They don't need the sugar. And when I like the kind that I do that goes at least 48 hours, there's enough time for things to break down and ferment. I don't need it to start quickly.
Yeah.
So I don't add sugar, and I don't need sugar to sweeten it up.
Even like so doing that, I'm trying to think also like quick and easy, because I'm part of in my mind is like, okay, is anybody like, or most people just going to be intimidated by making their own bread? Maybe, but an alternative to it that would bet you would be delicious is those frozen Roman pizza doughs that were fermented for 72 hours, the ones we buy.
Okay.
You just warm that up, brush it with a little bit of olive oil, warm it up, and then it gets very, like, you don't do it to a point where the crust underneath gets too crispy, but that'll fold. Like, you can cut that up and that'll fold.
Yeah, I mean, okay, we're in the Montreal area, so we've got lots of Lebanese grocery stores. Or
I have one. It's true. I could even buy some. I can buy some nearby that sell the massive ones.
Or even some of our regular stores like have some decent naan breads. They call it naan. Sometimes they'll call it Greek pitas. They're all over the map. But you just look for something that's quarter inch thick and got an irregular shape, and actually squeeze them in the bag to see that they're not rock hard. And so usually if you go there on Friday, Saturday, like they'll have fresh delivery and you'll get good stuff.
Okay, but so that would do.
That's the shortcut. You can let's not make it. You say, hey, here's how you make it, very easy. Or you don't have time.
You can buy it in the store, and then you just brush it with a bit of olive oil and herbs, and then put it on the plancha on the barbecue for a few seconds. Warms it up, gets it nice and fluffy.
the trick there with that little mixture of water and olive oil.
Yep.
Brush plash it for 15, 20 seconds, and you get, because you don't like all the stuff we're putting in the bread. I don't think you need the flavor of the bread.
No, absolutely. So much it's just it's to just make it fresh, fluffy.
Yeah.
I forget who it was. Like, it's like there's a lot of big chefs are always like, pick your time in the kitchen. Like, if you're an expert at making Turkish bread, make it. But if you've never made Turkish bread, why are you going to spend your time doing that? Just go buy one and do this. It's quicker, it's easier, and it'll probably have a better result. It's kind of like everyone's saying, "Oh no, make the fresh pasta at home." Oh. Yeah, but you need to make fresh pasta several times before it starts getting interesting. Because the first, I think, 5 times I made fresh pasta, I was like, meh. So it's like, just buy good pasta.
Yeah, because if you all these, the pasta snobs is, oh, you have to make it yourself. Like, bullshit. Like, go into every kitchen in Rome that makes great pasta. They're using dried stuff.
Yeah.
So, are you kidding? Why am I going to make it? And because it needs to be extruded. You can't get the texture that you have making fresh pasta, and you have to add eggs to it, which changes the flavor of the noodle. And you can't get al dente fresh pasta.
No.
So that's BS that you can't use. And what do we see? Like a really good fresh pasta, imported from Italy. You can buy it for like 500 grams. So that's a bit more than a pound for the non-metric folks out there. And it costs you like $5. Yeah.
So same concept. It's the same concept with the bread. So it's like pick our battles. Like let's max the quality by, if we can't make it better ourselves because we don't have the experience or time to do it, we're gonna buy it. So hence we'll just buy the bread here. I don't need to film this whole us making a recipe. I'm like, there's a million of them out there that do that. You want to do it yourself? No problem. Go find a recipe.
Yeah, but no. I mean, I like making bread. I find it therapeutic. You're in there and you just rising and shaping and all that. It's fun, but again, it's a lot of time. Like if I make pizzas at home, we're talking like, okay, we're eating at 6:30. Well, I start assembling stuff like at 5 o'clock, 5:30.
Yeah,
which that's where my time and energy goes. So if you charge yourself a decent hourly rate, your pizza ends up costing more than getting it.
100%.
Just like the extruded, like the pasta, like the fresh pasta, the mixing it, the rolling it out, the cutting it, letting it dry a little bit. Sometimes you don't have to. It's a lot of time.
It is a lot of time.
A lot of time, a lot of work. Or compare that to spending $5 for a noodle that's going to be better, and because it's extruded with those brass plates. It's like kids that remember your Play-Doh machine that you pushed out.
Yeah,
that's how they make the pasta, and then they cut it, so it gets like this rough texture on it.
Yeah, which is what you want.
What soaks up the pasta flavors or the sauce flavors. So anyway, we're getting off on a tangent.
So okay, so the focus now, what we figured out is it's not just making a pork chop; it's how to include a pork chop as part of this. Like, it's almost, I want to say, like, I don't just want to say a Mediterranean type dish, because it's a bit more than that. Like, you have like it's like Middle Eastern, bit of Greek influence. Like it's gonna have a mix of all these things.
Yeah, because you won't find a pork chop on the Middle Eastern table usually. You will find it on the Greek.
And the Greek side
is Greece. Greece meets the Middle East sort of thing.
Okay, so that's all right. So that's why I like doing this stuff. Is like we start with one idea, and as we're testing, we're like, wait a sec, this might be better just doing it this way. And man, this is gonna make a heck of a spread.
I almost want to make that tonight here for supper, because I didn't know what to make for supper. But I wanted to test the vinaigrette and the. But you know what? I can still do that. Test the vinaigrette and grab myself some. Even if I don't have lemon, I'll do it with like Greek yogurt.
Yeah, because your vinaigrette, I'm already picturing it like having, like, you have the Greek yogurt or the labneh sitting on
You put up
on
the
the cutting
three
board or whatever. Your sliced up pork comes on top with like the sumac crust. Then your vinaigrette drizzles on top of that. Then you have like the vegetables or the fattoush or whatever, and the flatbread. Then it's just a matter of taking the flatbread and put a bunch of pork in it, and boom, delicious.
Like basically, how to turn the humble pork chop into a delicious family backyard meal sort of thing.
Oh man, I'm hungry.
Maybe 9:15. Only 7 hours till supper time. Okay, I think I know I'm still lazy. I think I'm gonna start with the vinaigrette and the finishing sumac to see how those go together. But
I'll let you know tonight. I'll let you know tonight what the dry brine and the scoring crust, if the scoring crust of the sumac actually is worth doing.
But I think that's secondary. I think just well cooked pork chopped up. Maybe put the pan juices back on top to keep it moist.
Yeah, I think everything I just mentioned is like you said, it's secondary. That's not part of the. It's not required. But if ever there's some magical texture between the crispy crust and the juicy middle of the pork, that's always interesting because that creates an interesting contrast in your mouth, even if it's in a pita bread. However, if we're gonna have lettuce in there because you want a little bit of that fattoushi thing, you're gonna get the crunch somewhere, so it's not needed.
Okay.
All right. Okay, sounds good. Okay, I'll let you know later how it is.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Later.
Later.